Since the very dawn of time, humanity has looked up and wondered. Before we built cities, before we carved words into stone, we traced constellations in the darkness. Those lights in the sky were more than just stars, they were mysteries. They were gateways to the gods, omens of fate, stories written across the eternity of space. But behind every myth, behind every ancient story, was something deeper, curiosity. That restless, unyielding desire to simply know, what are those lights? Where do they come from? And could we ever go there? That single question, first whispered under ancient skies, would eventually become humanity's greatest adventure. Long before rockets or even telescopes, ancient civilizations charted the heavens with nothing but their naked eyes and brilliant minds. The Babylonians recorded the movements of planets on clay tablets, creating the foundations of astronomy. The Egyptians aligned their magnificent pyramids with the stars, connecting their pharaohs to the cosmos. The Maya built incredibly complex calendars that tracked the planet Venus with astonishing precision. In ancient Greece, philosophers started looking beyond myth to reason. A man named Aristarchus imagined that the Earth actually moved around the sun, a revolutionary idea centuries before Copernicus would prove it. Another genius, Eratosthenes, measured the size of our entire planet using just shadows and geometry, and he came remarkably close to the actual number. For thousands of years, the stars were our clock, our compass, and our map of meaning. Yet the heavens remained just out of reach, a realm for gods, not for mortals. Then, in the 17th century, a simple instrument changed everything. A tube of glass and metal, a telescope. Galileo Galilei pointed it at Jupiter, and he saw moons, tiny worlds orbiting another world. In that single, breathtaking moment, the universe suddenly became infinite, and Earth was revealed to be just one small world among countless others. Humanity had taken its first real step toward the stars, not with rockets, but with vision. Fast forward to the 20th century, an age of incredible science, global war, and massive industry. The dream of flight had already taken shape, from the Wright brothers' fragile wings to roaring jet engines. But now, humanity wanted to fly even higher beyond the air itself. Out of the chaos of World War II, a new, powerful technology emerged, the rocket. Originally designed for destruction, it would soon become the ultimate tool of discovery. One name stood out: Wernher von Braun, a visionary engineer completely obsessed with reaching space. After the war, his knowledge and work would lay the foundation for America's entire rocket program. But it was the Soviet Union that made the first incredible leap. On October 4, 1957, a metallic sphere about the size of a beach ball was launched into orbit. It broadcasted a simple radio signal, beep, beep. That sound echoed across the entire world, and in that instant, history changed forever. Sputnik 1 had become Earth's first artificial satellite. Humanity had finally crossed the boundary of the sky. The space age had officially begun. Panic and awe swept across the United States. If the Soviets could launch a satellite, they could launch anything. A race had started not just for military dominance, but for the very soul of exploration. Then came Laika, the stray dog from Moscow, who became the first living being to orbit the Earth, a brave pioneer who tragically never returned home. And soon, in 1961, the unthinkable happened. A human being left the planet. Yuri Gagarin, a 27-year-old Soviet pilot, orbited the Earth aboard his Vostok 1 capsule. As he looked out at the beautiful blue curve of his home, he said the words that would echo through eternity: "I see Earth. It is so beautiful." For the very first time, a human had become a traveler of the cosmos. The Cold War turned the heavens into a new battlefield, but also into a stage for absolute wonder. In 1961, U.S. President John F. Kennedy stood before Congress and made a declaration that would define a generation. "We choose to go to the moon." It was an incredibly bold promise, one that seemed almost impossible at the time. No human had even spent more than a day in space. But America's Apollo program set out to make that impossible dream a reality. Through both tragedy and triumph, engineers, scientists, and astronauts worked tirelessly, often risking their lives for this singular goal. Missions like the Gemini program tested essential skills like spacewalking, docking spacecraft together, and long-duration flight. Then, on July 20th, 1969, the entire world held its breath. As the lunar module, the Eagle, touched down on the moon's surface, a voice crackled through radios across the globe. "Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed." Moments later, Neil Armstrong stepped down onto the gray, alien dust of the moon. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. In that instant, humanity had done what no other species had ever done before we had walked on another world. The moon missions continued, with each one expanding our understanding. But by the time Apollo 17 returned home in 1972, the race had ended. The flags were planted, the footprints were made. The dream, for now, had been fulfilled. After the moon, the big question became, what's next? For a while, public interest began to fade. The massive budgets for space exploration shrank. But the spirit of discovery lived on. Unmanned probes became humanity's new pioneers, venturing out into the solar system. In 1971, Mariner 9 orbited Mars, mapping its enormous canyons and towering volcanoes for the first time. In 1973, Pioneer 10 flew past Jupiter, giving us our first close-up look at the gas giant. Then, in 1977, 2 spacecraft were launched that would carry our presence farther than anything before them, Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. They journeyed past Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, revealing breathtaking worlds we had only dreamed of, storms larger than our entire planet, moons with hidden oceans of liquid water, and spectacular rings of ice and dust. Each of these spacecraft carried a special message, the Golden Record, a time capsule of Earth's music, sounds, and greetings in many languages. It was a whisper to the stars, a message saying we were here. Even today, decades later, Voyager 1 continues to travel onward, now beyond the edge of our solar system, sailing into the vastness of interstellar space. A tiny ship, carrying our story forever through the cosmic sea. The next great chapter in our journey began in the 1980s with a bold new idea, a reusable spacecraft. The Space Shuttle, part rocket, part airplane, was designed to make going to space almost routine. It could carry satellites, telescopes, and crews of astronauts, and then return safely to Earth to fly again. In 1981, the orbiter Columbia roared off the launch pad. The shuttle era had officially begun. For the next 3 decades, 5 incredible orbiters, Columbia, Challenger, Discovery, Atlantis, and Endeavour, carried hundreds of people and payloads into orbit. They launched and repaired the Hubble Space Telescope, giving us stunning images of the universe that changed how we see everything. And they constructed a new kind of outpost in the sky, the International Space Station. But exploration always comes with risk. In 1986, the world watched in horror as the shuttle Challenger was lost shortly after launch. 7 astronauts perished, including Krista McAuliffe, a teacher who had dreamed of inspiring children from orbit. Then, in 2003, Columbia tragically disintegrated during re-entry. Once again, 7 brave lives were lost. Each tragedy shook the world, but they also reminded us that exploration is never easy. And still, humanity pressed forward because curiosity is a force that simply cannot be silenced. As humans continued to orbit the Earth, our robotic explorers went where we could not, at least, not yet. Mars became the next great frontier. In 1997, the Pathfinder mission landed with its tiny rover, Sojourner, proving that we could successfully explore the Martian surface on wheels. Then came Spirit and Opportunity, twin rovers that were only designed to last for 90 days. But they just kept going for years. Opportunity traveled for over 28 miles, surviving dust storms, navigating craters, and defying time itself. More recently, the Curiosity rover landed in 2012, a mobile science lab searching for signs that Mars could have once supported life. And in 2021, the Perseverance rover arrived, not only exploring an ancient river delta, but also deploying the first-ever helicopter on another planet, Ingenuity. These robotic pioneers are our eyes and hands on Mars, uncovering its secrets one discovery at a time and paving the way for the day when human footprints will join their tire tracks in the red dust. The dream of reaching for the stars is more alive than ever, as we stand on the shoulders of giants and look toward our next great leap into the unknown. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey through space history. If you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing for more adventures into science and discovery. See you next time.